One of these is not quite like the rest. Can you guess which one? We got 3 computers here today. This is the start of my great benchmarking adventure. At the announcement of the series, I said that I would do Pentium 2s first, since that's what I had set up at the time. But I have a limited amount of time with this set of computers, so why not get started with these? We have an IBM G41, an Alienware 766, and a Sager 888E. Now these are all Pentium 4 based, these all have 1GB of RAM, and they all have varying video cards. One is from ATI, and the other 2 are different classes of NVIDIA chips. And these are all slightly different speed Pentium 4s as well. The green one is 3 GHz, the Sager is 3.06 GHz, and the IBM actually is the most powerful one here at 3.33 GHz. So, pretty fast unit. Let's go ahead and get these all opened up. I have the Alienware in the middle in a weird spot because it bends backwards and to the right. The IBM bends backwards and to the left, so that's why it's kind of hanging off the table here so it can get fresh air. And the vents from the Alienware will go behind the Sager and not interfere with its airflow that goes all to the right. There we go. The Alienware is certainly striking when it comes to an office computer, a workstation computer, and this is clearly a gaming computer. But let's go ahead and get them all powered up here. This is going to be a loud video, because not only do these fans spin up loud in the computers, there's also fans in the power supplies. Look at that. Let's get the Sager one up next. They're all quite loud once they're starting up. They've all got Windows XP, SP2, and any necessary drivers to get them up and running. And the Alienware is lagging a bit. There we go. It is so noisy. We're going to wait for them all to get to the desktop. Now, the IBM has its original 60 gig hard drive. The Sager has an unoriginal 20 gig. And the Alienware has a DVD bay adapter 40 gig. And despite starting up last to get to BIOS, the Alienware was first. You can see the Sager is just now getting into the desktop here. And that's quite loud. One other thing you might notice is the speaker placement for some of these computers. Can you guess where the IBM is? And now you see it. Right there. It's only got one speaker. It's a business computer. Why does it need 2 speakers? The Alienware has 2 right beneath the screen, but that adds a unique effect, making it a widescreen. But it's not really wider than any of these other computers, so it just looks like you're missing bottom screen real estate. Not really a good design in my opinion. The Sager has the biggest screen, but it is pretty poor in color, I must say. IBM's is just okay. The Alienware screen, looking at all these side by side, is actually really good. I will give them credit. I'm going to see, just make sure that we're in full color bit mode here. On the Sager, we are. Alright. Now that all these machines are up and running, I've got a variety of 3D marks to load up here. And we'll see if any of them can run any of them, really. and we'll see how their scores compare. Let's go over the video cards. The Sager has a ATI 9000 series. It doesn't really say which one it is. It could be a 9700, 9500, 9400, or a 9000. I don't know. It just says 9000 series. So maybe we'll see in the benchmark software. The Alienware has an FX 5700 Go. That's the top tier card for this model, and that's very good to find. And the IBM, being more business focused, has a GeForce 5200 Go. So still pretty good. They're all 128 megabytes of RAM, so that should not be a factor. And these are all running slightly unactivated versions of Windows that I don't care about. And I'm going to turn down the volume of the Sager because it is quite noisy. There we go. Alright, so the loudest one here by far is the Sager. When you turn off the power saving features, it just has the fans going at full speed all the time. The Alienware's fans are on no matter what. They're not on like loud all the time, they're just always on. The IBM does settle down every once in a while. I'm sure there's a way to turn it off in BIOS, but it wouldn't let me because it's a business computer. We will start off with 3D Mark 99. Let's see if it'll run on all three of these computers. It won't run on that one. Nice. What about this one? Nope. Nice. And what about this one? 3D Mark 99 is a bit of a pain to install. Alright, so 3D Mark 99 just won't launch. Let's try 3D Mark 2000. We'll see if that menu launches for that one. I've had trouble with that one. 3D Mark 2000 just not launching sometimes. Not even giving you an error message. Nope, none. That didn't launch at all on any of them. Sorry for any crackling, I'm swapping hands here. Alright, I'm just going to have the task manager close it. Otherwise it'll just be running in the background and doing nothing for us. Gotta do this on everyone and then close task manager. We don't need that using any cycles of ours. Yeah, 3D Mark 2000 is running, just not showing. The mouse of the Sager is not very good either. I don't like the concave or convex whatever buttons. They're counterintuitive. They all have a middle clicker scroll wheel thing. But yeah. Alright, so it looks like we're going to be doing 3D Mark 2001. I've tested on the IBM, it does work. I think I've tested on the Alienware, it does work. I've not tested on the Sager. Maybe it'll work. Alright, looks like we are working. We're ready to go. I'm just going to make sure that we're all in the same power mode of desktop home computer, office desk. That way it won't shut off or do something stupid. Close task manager on that one. I'm going to hover over benchmark, and I'll just kind of start from like left to right. I was right to left, but whatever. I will be filming the first few tests to see FPS. Sager looks like it's lacking behind a little bit, although right now it's ahead, it looks like, of the IBM. IBM and Sager seem way more close matched. There we go, this might help. And we can see that the Alienware is kind of running away with this. It does have the highest tier card here, I believe. Once it is done with the graphics test, I'll stop recording for a bit, and I'll see you at the end, because graphics test, that's all we kind of really care about. We'll do the Dragon, and then we'll do whatever the last one is. I forget what 2001 has. Alienware is not loading as fast. That's probably because of the DVD bay adapter. Looking at the screens now for gaming, the Alienware is definitely the best one. You can see how it was designed for games. Widescreen games were just being popular, and they were able to tune it to look real good. Good contrast. Sager has good contrast too, but it has bad ghosting. So it's not the best gaming machine, but it's a workstation computer. It can hold 2 hard drives, it can hold a TV tuner. It's got way more features than either of these laptops. These computers are all kicking out some heat now. IBM by far the quietest. It's only got one massive fan and then a small fan for the graphics card. The Alienware has a slightly less massive fan for the CPU and a small fan for the graphics card. And the Sager has 2 giant fans that cover both. So that's why it's so loud. Alienware really running away here with the FPS numbers. 200 FPS at some points. You can see that the Alienware is a few seconds behind. IBM and Sager are just about on the same frames even. IBM definitely has the weakest screen of all. But for a business machine, I think it's doing quite well. We're just about done with the main graphics tests. You can see how much further ahead the Alienware is in terms of FPS and performance. Now, the 2 computers to the right do have new thermal paste. The IBM is still rocking whatever it had originally, but it seems to be putting out enough heat, and the vents are clean, so I think it's good. And this is the final game test, the nature test. (16 FPS on the IBM, about 30 on the Sager, and not much better on the Alienware, 35. Yeah, we can definitely tell that of these machines, the IBM does not have the strongest video card. The Alienware screen is really good. I have to give it that. It's a really good screen. Like even now, from a matte widescreen, small laptop, it's not got the response times, but looks-wise, it's pretty good. I wouldn't have it replace my main laptop anytime soon, but still. And now we're just getting into fill rates, which is kind of nothingness. I'll see you at the end of the test. It says 2 minutes, but trust me, it's more like 15. They lied. And the results are in. The Alienware gets over 10,000. The Shaker gets over 7,100. And the IBM gets almost 6,800. So, clearly, even though the IBM had the fastest processor, it did not have the best results. What about details? Will this tell us our frame times for the CPU and stuff? No. Oh well. We'll close 3D Mark 01, give the computers a few minutes to cool down here, and move on to the 3D Mark 03. Alright, let's let these cool down a bit, because I'm sure they're hot. Alright, that's enough time there. Let's try 3D Mark 03. I've never tried this on any of these computers. Maybe it'll launch, maybe it won't. So I was able to close it with Control-Delete Task Manager. Alright, so 3D Mark 01 seems to have been the only thing we can do. I'm going to try PC Mark 02. Maybe that'll work. Did I not install PC Mark 02 on this computer? No, video file is not found. I guess that'll be the end of this series for now. This video. I can do... I can try to do that. I need to install PC Mark 02 on the Alienware, it seems. So I have 04 and 05. It won't take long for me to install it, as long as it installs. There we go. I've now got PC Mark 02 installed. Let's see if it'll launch right after being installed. Sometimes it requires a reboot. Looks like we're good to go. Except for video files, as always. We're up and running. We are ready to begin PC Mark 02. All of them had a video file error message thing pop up, but still. 3D Mark 03 just would not launch on any of them, so I'm skipping that. We're going straight to PC Mark 02. And this will be the final test for today. Every other test is from too far new, I think. So from left to right, for real this time. And since this is all just graphs and lines and colors, I'll see you at the end. Which one do you think will get the best score? Personally, I think the IBM will get it because it's got the fastest processor here today. But you never know. Maybe some of these computers have something up their sleeves. I'll see you in a second. And the results are in, and I was dead wrong. The IBM got a score of 6968, good memory score of over 7500, and a pretty good hard drive score. Remember, these are all rocking hard drives, no solid state drives. The Alienware has a really good CPU score, a pretty bad memory score, honestly, and a pretty poor hard drive score as well. Moving on to the Sager, and we see it's got the best CPU score of the bunch, almost 7400. But the memory score and hard drive score just are not good. The hard drive score makes sense. It's a very old 4200 RPM 20 gig hard drive, so that makes sense. The memory score, though, I'm not sure. These are all running 1 gigabyte of DDR memory. The last thing we can do, aside from one just overall different kind of test, is to open up the Everest benchmark. I guess we're not going to find that out today. Alright, last test for today is going to be sound. And sound is subjective, except when it's not. Because there's a real good chance that if it sounds bad to me here, it'll sound bad to you later. Oh dear. This mouse is not the greatest here. Not gonna lie, the IBM does sound really good, even though it's only one speaker. It's full, you know what I mean? Let's take a listen to the Alienwares and jump off at the same time at 55 seconds. The Alienware is way quieter. And that's as loud as it can be. The Alienware does sound good, it's just too quiet. $121. And time for the Sager. Alright, so the Sager flat out is gonna be the loudest if I do anything louder than this, but it gets real distorted. It could just be old speakers, but I do not know. I'm going to move to 2 minutes on this one. $220, $221, and we're going to finish off on the IBM. And that's the sound test. If I had to have any of these machines for sound, it would be the IBM. It's not stereo, but it sounds really good. Alienware is clean, but it's too quiet. Maybe it's the speakers just being old. Maybe it was louder when it was newer. And the Sager, maybe it was clearer when it was newer. It's clearly the loudest. Like, the IBM was all the way up. The Alienware was all the way up. The Sager was about the same volume as the IBM, and it was barely at half. And it could be way louder too in the bass speaker settings. But then it just gets so crackly and distorted, it's not worth it. Some final usage notes, like features and stuff. IBM is pretty feature rich. It's got a lot of ports. It's got some good port selections. DVD drive there did not want to work for me, but that doesn't matter. Looks like it does have some PCI slots, along with, at least for this unit, being able to have a working battery. So I can actually turn it around and have it still be on for you guys. You can see a lot more ports there. I believe it's got a port replicator as well, so you can get even more. And I think I'm done with the IBM, so I can go ahead and just shut this down and get it out of the way so that I can properly show you the backside of the Alienware. The Alienware does not have a working battery, so that's why I need more table space. As you can see, I've been kind of limited on that for this whole video. Look at that. All right, there's the IBM done. With the Alienware, I guess I'll shut you down too if I need to show the backside for all the ports and stuff. And interestingly, they all use the same kind of connector. They all have a 4-prong cleaver port, although the IBM's is inverted for whatever reason. You can see on the Alienware, the head lights up. You can enable that or disable that in BIOS. Keyboards, they're all pretty good. Of course, the Sager has a full keyboard. It's one of the largest laptops for the time. IBM does have actually working internet. I could not get the internet working on the Sager or the Alienware. Alienware's DVD drive is broken because it's not a DVD drive. Does have a PCI slot along with the volume slider. I did not notice that. Oh my god, I feel stupid. I want to retest the sound. We're going to fire this back up. I think it was all the way down. That would have really explained that. I'm stupid. Looks like it does have an SD card port. Yep. I can't remember if the IBM had a port like that. No, I don't see one. Not one immediately available. Nope. That sounds louder to me. So let's quickly go back and test the song. Ah, that's so much better. That's beautiful. Ah, that's actually got bass in it now. The sound separation, it's so good. Oh man. That's not like the best speakers ever, clearly, but from what it was before at 10% volume, and I thought that's as loud as it could be. That's such a dramatic improvement. I'm so glad I found that. Okay, so sound-wise, the Alienware now has that one beat handily. And it might even have 4 speakers, I can't tell. It looks like it might. Looks like those might be actual speaker holes there, not just for show. I don't know though, I've never taken this fully apart. Right side has a lot of USBs and a firewire, along with some venting. And this is where the battery is. Left side, seen that already. Now I need to actually shut it down to show you the back side. I feel real stupid for not knowing about that volume slider. I think that's the only one to have an external volume slider. It's got a little infrared port there as well. That's the most convenient infrared port I've ever seen in my life. I'm going to keep it plugged in so that the alien head does not go off, otherwise it will, because the battery is actually dead. On the back there's not too much, just some venting, a parallel port, printer, VGA, and LAN and a phone line. So I'll just leave this over here, I guess, and I can now move the Sager over a bit, which will be quite the effort because I don't want to break off the rubber feet, because I hear they are just held on by like tape. Alright, features for the Clevo Sager. It's got a programmable button up here. You can just turn that into whatever you want. It's got dual drive bays, one for floppy drive, one for DVD drive or blank or hard drive bay or anything really. It's got a floppy drive, which is unique, I guess. It's got a PC card slot there. Infrared that's going crazy for me right now. SD card reader, some audio jacks. The front has a CD player, so you can play the CDs while the computer is off. That's a cool feature to see. Some of these old Sagers had that. On the right side we have actually nothing but venting, but not really. For we do have a little MP3 player. You can shove in a little SD card slot, and do it just like that. It's got a little headphone jack down there. It's very cool. When it's inside the computer, it shows up as another USB disk, and you can just move your media files over to it. I haven't tried it. Maybe it's awful, but I've heard that some of these units can have a fingerprint reader here. I've never had one that does though. And like the Alienware, or not like the Alienware, like the IBM, this does have actual battery life. Not very much there, so I gotta be quick here. You have all the ports ever in the back, including a TV tuner. Look at that. There's a little round hole there. Lots of USBs, tons of other ports. Clearly this is the Big Daddy computer. If I had to quickly summarize, the IBM is a simple town car, meant to do work and nothing else really. Meant to get stuff done. The Alienware is a tuner car, meant to look fast and go fast. And the Sager's a truck. It's not meant to do too much other than move stuff around and be good at work. But it'll be loud doing it. I guess that's it for this first episode. If you guys enjoyed the Pentium 4s, then do go ahead and leave a like, favorite, comment, share, and of course don't forget to subscribe as well. Next episode might be Pentium 3s, or it could be Pentium 2s, might even be Pentium 1s, I don't know. And I don't know when I'll get around to it, just whenever. I was time pressed for this video because the Sager is already sold, the Alienware might be sold, and same with the IBM. They're all going to be sold together, I think. But for now, only the Sager has sold, and I wanted to get my thoughts out on it before I didn't have one of these, because these units don't pop up too often. And before you ask all about the tape, the top screws actually broke out. They don't screw in anymore. They just kind of, the plastic mounting thing has shattered, and the little screen latch no longer works. Gotta just manually slide it over. Oh well, that's what you get for these old machines. Alienware. I do have a new hard drive cable coming in for it, so I don't need to use a DVD bay adapter anymore. I do have the original DVD drive, so it will look completely original. And hopefully work completely original. But now we have the benchmark scores and the thoughts and everything like that. That'll be it for now. If you guys enjoyed this first episode, long belated first episode I must say, then do go ahead and leave a like, favorite, comment, share, and of course don't forget to subscribe as well. Thanks, Scambia. I'll see you all in the future.